generation of a computer. Okay, till now we learnt about introduction about the computer system and characteristics of the computer system and even evolution of the computer system, how computers evolved from abacus to currently using system. Okay, so now we'll see a generation of a computer system. So since the evolution of first computer in 1994, okay, the initially first computer was evolved in 1944 or 19 series. The size of the computer has decreased now, and whereas the speed and capacity and reliability have been increased with the passage of time. So in initial days, size of the computer was very large. Okay, it may be up to the room size, but now computer size has been decreased, and it also increases the speed and capacity and reliability. What is reliability? Its reliability is nothing but that we can trust the system. Okay, then it's going to produce a proper output, so that it has been increased with the time and invention of the new technologies and advancement in each generation. Okay, so that technology is responsible for the development given below, like it invents the transistors, invention of ICs, that is integrated circuits, and even development of the microprocessor. Okay, while learning generation of the computer, you have to keep it in mind the period or duration of each generation. Okay, so depending upon the technology we are using now or we have used, so that computer were classified into 5 generations. How many generations? 5 generations. Okay, and in each generation you have to concentrate on its duration or period from where to where. Okay, and then what are the technology they have used in each generation, along with one or two example of the each generation, that you have to keep it in mind for the purpose of your examination. Okay, so now we'll see each generation one by one. So in first generation, the duration was 1946 to 1955. Okay, and the technology or basic element that they have used is vacuum tubes. Okay, in second generation 1955 to 1965, and the technology was used is transistors. Third generation, that is from 1965 to 1975. Okay, and they have used integrated circuits, that is IC. Fourth generation is from 1976 to 1988, and microprocessor or large scale integration, LSI. Okay, large scale integration were used. So fifth generation, now we are associated with fifth generation. Okay, so it's from 1988 to current technology, that is they have used or we are using the technology called artificial intelligence. Okay, while learning the generation of computers, you have to keep it in mind duration along with the technology and two or more example for each generation, and advantages and disadvantage of each and every generation. Okay, that you have to keep it in mind. Now we'll see a first generation. So its duration is from 1946 to 1955. Okay, the first computer used vacuum tubes for circuitry and magnetic drums for the memory. As you all know that we require input memory along with the output devices right now, so that in order to store any data we need a memory. Okay, so in first generations, vacuum tubes used for the circuitry. That means vacuum tubes takes the data from one place to another place. Place is nothing but here are devices. Okay, so vacuum tubes is used to carry the data or information which is provided by the user. Okay, so that data will be stored in the memory. Magnetic drums were used as a memory for in a first generation. Okay, and the size of the first generation was very large. It may take entire room of a size. Okay, then first generation computers relied on machine language. What is machine language here? Because computers understand only zeros and ones. Okay, in order to do any coding in the first generation, that must be in the form of machine language, because computers understand only zeros and ones. Okay, In order to perform any operations, we have to write a code in machine language during the first generation, and that could solve only one problem at a time. But nowadays we are living in a fifth generation, means we can solve more number of problems in a particular time. But in first generation we can solve one problem at a time. Okay, and example for the first generation computing devices: Mark 1, EDSAC, EDVAC, UNIVAC and ENIAC. So these computers are the example for first generation computing devices. Okay. So IBM 650 was the another first generation computer by IBM Corporation. So IBM has been invented or developed a machine or computer system called IBM 650. So that relies on the first generation of computer. Okay. So you have to keep it in mind. Examples are Mark 1, EDSAC, EDVAC, UNIVAC. Okay. So EDVAC is nothing but, write down EDVAC, that is electronic discrete variable automatic computer, that is EDVAC. Next is ENIAC, that is ENIAC, electronic numerical integrator and computer. Okay, electronic numerical integrator and computer. And EDVAC is electronic discrete variable automatic computer. UNIVAC is nothing but universal automatic computer. Universal automatic computer. Okay. So now we'll see advantages and disadvantage of this first generation. So what was the advantage? The 1G or first generation computers were able to process any task in milliseconds. The speed was little bit okay. So we can process the task in milliseconds, and hardware designs are functioned and programmed by machine languages. What was the advantage? No need to convert any programming languages into the machine language, because already code has been written only in the machine language. That may save the time of the user. Okay, and the processing speed may also increased. And vacuum tube technology is very much important, because which opened the gates of digital world communication. By making use of that vacuum tube technology, we can solve the digital world communication, and we can easily connected with the digital world. Okay, so these are the advantages of first generation. And system was very expensive. Now we'll see a disadvantages. Size of that machines was very big. It may related to a particular room. Okay, so size of the machines are very big, and that required a large amount of energy for processing, because vacuum tubes are related to that requires very amount of high energy for the processing of data, so that heat may get generated and they need a air conditioning. Okay, so that it requires a large amount of energy for processing, and also heat generated by making use of the vacuum tubes, and in order to minimize that heat we need a air conditioning. Okay, so these computers are very expensive, and in order to get the proper processing, maintenance required continuously. Okay, so maintenance cost is very high, and we need to maintain the system continuously. So what was the advantages? Process may or we can process any task in milliseconds, and the programs are written in machine language, and vacuum tube technology was very new to the digital world communication. Okay, and speed was very low. Okay, so disadvantages are speed was very low, and size of that machines are very big, and it requires a large amount of energy for processing, and it did not have very much memory. Okay, and system was used and non-portable. We cannot transfer a system from one place to another place. Once it is installed in a particular place, then that cannot be moved to the another place because the system was very big. Okay, and processing speed was very low, then systems were expensive and the system was not so powerful, so that second generation came into a picture. Okay, so transistors replaced the vacuum tubes in second generation. So in first generation we have used vacuum tubes as a basic element, but in second generation we have used transistor as a basic element, and its duration is from 1955 to 1965. Okay, so transistor, what is transistor here? It is a device that is composed of semiconductor material that amplifies the signals or opens or closes a circuit. Okay, that strengthens the signal. Amplify in the sense that strengthen the signal of data. Okay, so transistor is replaced by vacuum tubes in a second generation. Then it was invented in 1947 at Bell Labs. Transistors was used in or invented in Bell Labs, and transistor have become the key ingredient of all the digital circuit. Initially, vacuum tubes were the basic digital circuit. After the invention of transistor, transistors becomes the digital circuit including the computers. Okay, so today's latest microprocessor contains tens of millions of microscopic transistors, so that the transistor helps to generate the data and result as soon as possible with a minimal amount of time. Okay, the first computers of this generation were developed for the atomic energy industry. By making use of the second generation computer, that computers were used for the development of atomic energy industry. Okay, so example for second generation is IBM 7074 series, CDC 164, IBM 1400 series. Okay, so in second generation you have to concentrate some other points like transistor were used as a internal operations. Transistors were used for the internal operations and magnetic core for the main memory. So in previous session magnetic drums were used as a memory in first generation, but in this second generation magnetic core used for the main memory. Okay, and magnetic tapes and disks were used for the secondary memory. Secondary memory is used to store the permanent data and main memory is used to store the temporary data. Okay, and high level languages were used for developing programming. In second generation high level programming were used. Okay, so this generations of computer system includes COBOL and Fortran programming language. COBOL, that is COBOL, that is Common Business Oriented Language, and Fortran, that is Formula Translator. Okay, these two languages were used in second generation. Okay, then now we'll see advantages of this second generation. So it is less expensive and smaller in size when compared to a first generation computer, because first generation computer may occupy a complete room, but second generation computers are smaller in size when compared to a first generation, and it is a fast in speed. So in compared to a first generation, the speed of the processing is fast in second generation. Okay, and low power consumption and less heat generation, because in first generation we have used vacuum tubes that they may have generated large amount of heat, but by making use of the transistor it may consumes less power and it also generates the less heat. And vacuum tubes technology is much importance, which opened the gates of digital world communications. And then vacuum tubes opens the gate of digital world communication, but transistors are replace the value of vacuum tubes because it become a key ingredient for the technology or digital world communication. Okay, and language after machine language for processing in second generations are COBOL and Fortran. That is common business oriented language. Fortran is formula translators. Okay, so now we'll see a disadvantages. Maintenance of a machine is required. So in all generation we need to maintain the machine properly, and air conditioning required. Still, as a heat causes to process the process slowly. Even in second generation also air conditioning is required, but amount of heat generation is less, even though we need a air conditioning in order to minimize the heat causes that maximize the process very fastly. Okay, if it causes the heat, then that process the data slowly. Okay, these computers are not used as a personal computer. We cannot use this computer for a particular work, or cannot used as a personal system. Okay, preferably used for the commercial purpose. For any business purpose we can use this second generation computer. So now you can see the image of each generation here. So these are the first generation computers. So you can see that it may be large as a room size. Okay. So second generation computers were used a transistor. Then size of the computer become less when compared to first generation. Now we'll see a third generation computer. Okay, so third generation is from 1965 to 1975. So in this generation the key element is integrated circuit, that is IC. So IC was the hallmark of the third generation computers, and transistors were miniaturized and placed on the silicon chips called semiconductors, which drastically increase the speed and efficiency of a computer. So in first generation vacuum tubes were used. So vacuum tubes were replaced by transistor, and transistors was replaced by integrated circuits. Okay, so transistor were miniaturized and placed on the silicon chips. So transistor also inserted within these IC chips, and that is called as a semiconductor. So it increases the speed and efficiency of a computer system. By making use of this semiconductor, we can increase the speed and efficiency of a computer system. Okay. So in first generations and second generations, punched card was used as a input devices. Okay. So instead of punched cards and printouts, user interact with the third generation computer through keyboards and monitors. Okay, in up to second generation we don't have any input devices, that they have used only punched cards as a data or key input to a computer system. But in third generation the computer system, or we can interact with the computer system by using of keyboards and monitors. So keyboards were used for the input device purpose, and monitors were used as a output device. Okay, and the interface with an operating system. So all these input devices, output devices and operating systems came into a picture in the generation of third generation. Okay, so which allowed the device to run many different applications at one time. In first generation we can run only one program at a time, but by making use of the interface and even operating system, we can run different application at one time with a central program that monitor the system. That means CPU, that's going to monitor the system and monitor the memory. It allocates the memory as required by the program. Okay, so the computer for the first time become accessible to a mass audience because they were smaller, cheaper than the preceders. That means it is cheaper than second generation and third generation, so that each people can buy their own system, and that system can be accessible to more or mass audience. Okay, and this example for this generation computers are IBM System 360 and IBM 370, PDP 8, DEC, UNIVAC 1108 and UNIVAC 9000. Okay, so these were the key terms in a third generation that you have to concentrate. Okay, so now we'll see our advantages. It is smaller in size and low cost than previous, because first and second generation computers was very expensive, but third generation computers are less expensive when compared to first and second. And then low power consumption and easy to operate because it has a interface. So by making use of that interface, we can communicate with the computer system easily, and it consumes the less power. Okay, and it requires less computation time because the processing speed is very speed or very high. Okay, high reliability, we can trust the system. There may not be a problem or breakage in a processing, so that we can rely or we can trust the system highly in this generation. And it is a multitasking environment. In first and second generation computer, the processing speed were very low and we can run a particular program at a time. But in third generation, we can perform more than one task in a time. Okay, so that is nothing but multitasking environment. And operating systems for user interactions, and operating system came into a picture in third generation. Okay, so these are all the advantages that you have to keep it in mind. Then what are the disadvantages? IC chips are still difficult to maintain because integrated chips was very small and that require more number of maintenance. That maintenance cost is high and it is very difficult to maintain, and it need a complex technology because the processing speed was very high and it requires less consumption and is easy to operate, so that it need a complex technology. Okay, so this is regarding third generation. So write down the points that you have to keep it in mind. Integrated circuits on the silicon chips were used for internal operations. And in this third generation of the computer, mini computers were introduced. Okay, and it saw the emergence of software industry because operating system came into a picture. Okay, operating system is a part of what? System software. So that software industry emerged in third generation of the computers. Okay, then the computers were able to reduce the computational time from milliseconds to microsecond. In first and second generation of the computer, the processing speeds were measured in terms of milliseconds, but in third generation the processing speed become microsecond. Okay, and maintenance cost was low as hardware failures were rare because we can have a high reliability on the system, so that maintenance cost was low along with hardware failures were rare. Okay, systems were totally general purpose, we can use the computer system as per our requirement. But in first and second generation computer, that computers were used for the commercial purpose, only for the business purpose that we can use the second generation computer. But in third generation, the computer were made for the general purpose and that could be used for number of commercial applications. Okay, the systems were faster, more powerful, more reliable, cheaper and smaller in overall size and had a more memory. So these are all the things that you have to keep it in mind while learning about the third generation of computer. Okay, so that you can see the image here. Third generation computer, the size of the computers were minimized when compared to first and second generation. So now we'll see about fourth generation of computer, that is 4G, 1976 to 1988. The duration were 1976 to 1988, And in this technology, we have used microprocessor as a key term or a main element of the system. Okay, use of microprocessor in mid 70s marked the advent in the fourth generation of computer. So each generation brings a upgradation in the technology and even in the upgradation in the new environments. So that microprocessor was used in the 1970s. So it is medium to very large scale ICs technologies packed about thousands of lack of transistors in a single chip. So you cannot imagine that a single chip or thousand lakh of transistors are integrated in a single chip. That is single integrated circuit chips. Okay, so the Intel Corporation in 1971 packed the complete CPU in a single chip, that is known as microprocessor. Okay, microprocessor is a device which includes the or which packed the complete CPU in a single chip. That single chip is very large scale integrated circuit. Okay, that has a lack of transistors together in a single chip. But in second generation of computers, we were used transistor as a basic element, but the basic elements are integrated into a single chip. Okay, so that is known as microprocessor. And another significant development in this generation is graphic devices. So till now, up to third generation of the computers, in first and second generation of the computer, they have used only black and white input and output devices. Okay, but in fourth generation of computer, graphic devices came into picture. So this significantly contribute to the use of computer in a design, drawing, commercial arts, and even for entertainment purpose. Okay, so social medias came into picture in this generation because and designing we can done drawing, even commercial arts, paintings, all those softwares emerged in this generation. Okay, so what in the first generation filled an entire room could now fit in the palm of our hand. That means the size of the computer reduced into a palm of our hand because of the tabs, mobiles and all. Okay, so examples are Intel processors, AMD processor based machines. At least two or more examples are necessary for each computer generation. So advantages of fourth generation is smaller in size. Size of the computer system is very small than microprocessor based technology, so that we can rely on the system. And semiconductor memory. So for memory purpose, semiconductors were used. And low cost of production. Systems are not so cheap when compared to all the other three computer system. It has a low cost of production and the speed is very high. Okay, it based on the nanoseconds and high reliability. We can trust the system. Efficient operating system. So more external storage mediums are introduced like CD-ROM, DVD-ROM. So we can store the data in a bulk amount. And GUI, that is graphical user interface, developed for the interaction. That includes the menus, drawings, images, icons, that comes under GUI, that is graphical user interface, because games all came into picture in the generation of 4G. Okay, so while learning the fourth generation of the computer system, you have to keep it in mind that so it has a more circuits on the chips, LSI and VLSI, that is large scale integration and very large scale integration. And introduction of the microprocessor were emerged in this generation, and microcomputers and personal computers which were affordable and that may be available to a common man. Okay, and use of chips for the memory. So for memory purpose, integrated circuits and semiconductors were used. The cost of assembling reduced to a great extent. That means the cost of the maintenance is low when compared to all other generation. So it is easily portable because of this small size. Size of the computers was small, so that we can replace or we can port the system. And hardware failures were negligible. So we can easily find out the failures if any occurs. And the systems were faster, more powerful, more reliable, cheaper, and smaller in overall size, and had a very large memory. So that storage mediums introduced like CD-ROM and DVD-ROM. Okay, and it is a user-friendly system. We can interact the computer system with a GUI, that is graphical user interface. So you can see the image of fourth generation computer here. Okay, so this is microprocessor. It has a lack of transistors within it. You can see here each transistor can hold large amount of memory and process the data as soon as possible. Okay, with a nanoseconds that can process the data in a fraction of seconds or even in the nanoseconds. So now fifth generation of the computer, it starts with 1980 series. Till now we are using fifth generation of computer, that is a very high advanced technologies. In this computing devices, artificial intelligence that we are using. Okay, we are embedding the knowledge of human into a computer system, that is artificial intelligence. That in still development, though there are some applications such as voice recognition. So you can use this voice recognitions in Google or even in YouTube or any other applications, okay, that are being used today. So the use of parallel processing in the sense we can perform more than one task at a time. And superconductor is helping to make the artificial intelligence reality. Superconductors are used in the artificial intelligence technology. Okay, and quantum computation, molecular nanotechnology will radically change the face of computers in years to come. So currently they are in trial and error method. So these are the technologies that are using for the computation purpose. And the main goal of the fifth generation computing is to develop a devices that responds to a natural language input. That means I need to give a input in my own voice, so that can take the input, then they have to process the data, and that computer must be able to learn itself and self organizing, that is supervised learning. They are collecting and they are inventing the new technology called expert system and artificial intelligence. Then so development of the storage technology and advancement in the network technology and systems were more reliable in fifth generation of the computer system. Okay, it's a platform independent and program independent, so that we can use any programs for the processing of data. And it has a thinking and analysis by its own, because we are using artificial intelligence as a key element in fifth generation. So it includes voice recognition or reorganization and biometric devices. So these biometric devices includes face recognition, even thumb impressions, like that. Okay, and self organization and learning. So in order to make the machine independent or machine technology, we are using a self organizing and learning. Machine must be intelligent as a human. Okay, so we are incorporating the knowledge of human into a computer system. Okay, so these are the advantage of fifth generation of computer system. So computers are more intelligent, and the development of the robots to assist the human beings. So these are all in the trial and error technologies that we are currently using and developing. Okay, so development of supercomputers are emerged in the fifth generation. While learning all the generation of the computer, so you can see the fifth generation of computer here. Okay, it has a advancement in a technology and upgradation of technologies. So that while learning the generation of technology, we have to concentrate that each period or duration of the computer system, and what is the key element or what is the basic technology of each generation, along with the examples and advantages and disadvantage of each technology, that you have to keep it in mind, and minimum 5 points of each generation. That is very very important for the exam purpose. Okay, so this is regarding generation of the computer system. Thank you.